apparently she's like organizing this thing called Black Queer Love. I want to know more about that.
Hey, we want to know more about Black Queer Love. Did you hear that?
Regarding Black Queer Love, I think it's so important for us to understand that, you know, within Black Queer Love, there is blackness, you know, and the politics of being black, and then there is queerness, and then the politics of being queer, and then there is love, you know, and the politics of love. So, you know, over the years, I mean, I came out when I was 16, and I had to navigate through accepting myself and understanding what it means to be. I was then lesbian, you know, I identified as lesbian. So when I came out, I didn't actually know there was a thing called lesbian. I was just like, okay, shit, I like girls, you know. So I went to Google at that time, you know, we had the 360 VGA camera phone, and you just Google like girls who like girls. What does it mean? Am I going to hell? Oh shit, what if my mom found me to do? You know, you do those research, and then. You know, the names would come up in a South African context, like Zanele Mukoli, Wendy Isaacs, your Bev Diti, your Funeka Soldati, or your Zetu Matebeni, all these people that were in black queer spaces then, you know, would come up, you know, and then it made it seem okay. I was like, okay, you know, like, oh, at least now I know that there are black people that like other women, you know, sort of like discovering that there's life in Bloom. I was like, oh shit, people out there like me, you know. Yeah. So that was really nice for me, and that's when I started to define myself first, you know. And I think that the definition process is so important before you even engage in a love space, because you can't love without having understood who you are as a person, giving or receiving love, you know. So I had to define myself for myself, and it's a long process. It doesn't happen, you know, in a year or 2 years. I mean, you can call yourself lesbian or whatever, but when you interrogate yourself and ask what it means to be lesbian, and ask what those feelings mean and how you express those feelings or how you receive certain feelings from people, you know, that's when you get into a deeper conversation with yourself and with the world, you know. So over the years, I mean, I started off as lesbian, and then gradually I was like, I'm queer, you know. And the term queer for me personally, you know, means that I don't reduce people to just, you know, cisgender. You know, when we say cisgender, it's like, you know, the person, the physical attributes of the person are what they identify as. So if a woman says they have a vagina, there's this woman, you know. But for me, over the years, it has been a conversation of, if someone says they're asexual, if someone says they're trans, and I'm attracted to them, you know, I'll totally pursue them, and I don't define myself in it. I mean, I think within a South African context, again, we use the term lesbian with certain boundaries and parameters. So I chose out of that, you know. But to go back to the point about queer love, I think Black queer love particularly, it's a very, very radical action. It's a political statement, you know. It's a revolutionary love, you know. You have to fight so much as a black person existing in the world, you know. As you see outside, like, black lives are being killed left, right, and center, you know. The black body is not safe anywhere in the world, you know. So to own a black love is an act of revolution, you know. It's a political act, and I think it's important for black people to own that, and to be black and queer on its own is an act of revolution, you know. So it's a combination of things, you know. It's an energy sapping process, because you're constantly battling a lot of politics, you know, before you even get to love your partner. You're battling the politics of being black, you know, with patriarchy, with sexism, you know, with all these other things that are oppressive to black people. And then you get to your queer space, and then you're oppressed as a queer person, you know. So by the time you get to a lover, you're so tired of existing. You know, you really don't know how to be, but it's so important to constantly strive to to be as radical as possible about the Black queer love because we need it, you know. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and I said, you know what? One of the most important things that has happened to me is to be loved by other Black queer people. You know, it makes so much sense to me to find a Black woman and just hold and breathe them in, you know, and with their dreadlocks that they smell like, whether they smell like weed or cigarettes or just breathe this in, you know. And it's like, oh man, this is hope for me, you know, and not even like in a very creepy way, like let's get married home, but it's a strength that you sort of get in loving another person who's also battling the same, you know, battling the same problems and facing the same struggles, you know. So I don't even know what I was answering.
No, that's so beautiful. I totally identify. Okay.
It always sounds like you're having sex. It's like, like people like that.
No, cool. You know what?
And I'm
no, luckily you can see like everybody is not having sex here. Listen, Viv.
Yes.
That I think we've got only like time for that one question, and I'm glad because it gave us a little bit of background into what you define yourself as queer, and I think that resonates with me as well. But in terms of talking about safety and gender fluidity and how we titled you in as a special guest, can you just share with us some information on some of the things that you deal with? You know, if we can go straight into that, or would you, because you've already lubricated lots of people here.
I'm not sure if you guys see me, but I can't see you. But I'll do it nonetheless.
Yeah.
So gender fluidity as a definition is sort of synonymous with gender non-conformity, really, you know, and according to emotions, really, you know. So you'll find that someone who was straight and then became lesbian and now is transsexual again, you know, or transgender, has had to come to terms with their body and their state of mind and what they like to present as, you know. So it also means that, you know, it's very tied in, intricately tied in with sexuality. So the people that you see those dynamics play out in those spaces are very important. So for instance, heterosexual identifying man who likes to have anal sex with gay men or whoever it may be, you know, because they understand that what is pleasurable does not necessarily define who you are as a gendered human, you know. Some women, it's become very known in lesbian society, lesbian spaces particularly, where we find women sleeping with men for whatever reason, you know. It still does not change the fact that they're lesbian, you know. And it's sad because particularly in the Black community, we're very violent and critical about those terms and the definitions and the boundaries, you know. So if someone says they're lesbian, it means that they have to be with a woman and a woman, you know, because that's what being lesbian is. Whereas sex and the person that you are really completely different, you know. What does not necessarily define them, you know. So I think it's one of those areas that we haven't really spoken about, or not a lot of education is invested. Well, I mean, it goes for the queer community in general, but I think that area is left out, you know. But one of the reasons I want to talk about it is because I wanted to talk about the safety that goes into those spaces as well, you know. Because it's recent come out in research that was, I think, 231 women in town, that 9% of those women, 231 women, were HIV positive, you know, and they had absolutely no idea how they contracted it because they had
slept with men before. But they completely disregarded the fact that their partners could have had oral sex and all these other things you don't really talk about, And it means that you constantly have to check yourself once, but you also have to be aware of what your partner is doing, and it doesn't mean going to their phone sneaking or whatever, but it means having an honest relationship really and constantly testing. I think one of the most important things is that we do not disregard HIV and AIDS and any other infection, maybe or virus that we might have, just because we have such a little chance of being infected. And I'm not being biased with it because I'm a black queer woman, so all my references are leaning wanting towards women. But I think men are more privileged in the sense that the health system in South Africa favors men, how we approach health, there are condoms, they're considered, there's all these ways in which people can access healthcare for men, besides stigma and all these other things. But for women, there isn't any sort of dedicated space or way in which we can understand ourselves and protect ourselves, But I think we need to begin a space where we practice safe sex, I mean, dental dams, for instance, are awful. Like, they take up a balloon that has been dusted in powder. They're awful, but you have to use it because you can't go down on someone and then, like all that rainbow in your mouth and the you get like,
like when you go down on a woman, you
have to get like, when you've done that, it's not scary. Like, I mean, we all did it, I assume. That's nice, it's like, you're consuming those fluids and you go in, and then, but with those really to be taken seriously, So I think it's important that we understand what is out there and what isn't out there, I know that lesbians also have finger protection gowns, which are also really condoms. But it's important to use those as well, I mean, like, hey, lesbians, you take man.
You know what? Also, words you
take these things. Take these things. So it's really important that we do that. It's really, really important that we do that. Particularly because also, I mean, there's a growing desire between women to have sex, even when they're in periods. It's like, what's your period? What's your period? What is it gonna hurt? Put up more clothes in the sandwich. What is it gonna hurt? So that is the risk, that is major risk we should be taking seriously, So I think we need to sort of start getting to a place where we create information that is accessible, but also we take the time out ourselves, to seek information and not just rely on the fact that, oh well, it's 2%, 1%, might not get infected, But for men, I try. I think it's unfair, but I mean, I try not to speak on other people's experiences. Because I don't live life, so I'm not really directly exposed to it. But I feel that men are trained, even though they don't do it, but there's some sort of training to use a condom. Like, I mean. All my guy friends have condoms stashed in their wallets, it's a thing, But you never see this.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
In their wallets, like, we're going off, pick up a group of, then you slam her behind the bathroom door, and then there's a lot of education that should be going into queer spaces for safety and health reasons, particularly because
it all boils down to the fact that you really never know who someone is sleeping with. You know? Like, I don't know who my partner is sleeping with right now. I could be out here laughing with you. You know? You really never know. And that's the reality of it, you know? And I think that's a problem with our society, is that instead of protecting ourselves, we trust the other person more than we love ourselves, you know? And it's so dangerous. It is so dangerous. Like, you should never love anyone enough to trust them with your life, you know? Like, that is your life. That's like the only thing you have, really, you know? So I think before we try and engage with relationships and be people's lovers and whatever, it's important to think for yourself and be like, you know what? I love you, babe, but I don't know who you are when you go out and turn up, so I'm just gonna do me and take risks. And maybe not, you know, but even me protecting myself, I love you enough to protect you, because you don't know where I've been, you know? So those are the real conversations that we're not having that really affect our lives in a tremendous way, you know? So yeah, that is what I know about gender fluidity and how, really, you know?
Oh, Sivu, thank you so much. Can you hear me? Can't hear me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's give her a... Thank you so much, babe.
Did I get a round of applause? Hell, it just sounded like...
Moving
Look at
on.
these people at the sequence. What the hell is that? Thank you so much, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.